I'm Richard Metcalf, Ben's little brother, despite my obvious height and handsomeness advantage. Our mom's only request tonight was that I call you Benjamin and mention how you two would make beautiful children and amazing parents. Sorry, Mom, no can do, because this night's for you, Ben. I wanted to start off by congratulating Ben and Sarah for their dedication, organization, and flexibility for planning a wedding during a pandemic. They navigated through plans A to E to make this happen, and due to rule changes, they had to uninvite friends, family, and loved ones. So for those of us in attendance tonight, we made the cut! It was amazing watching Ben transition from a 10-year-old dork with half a bottle of Dippity-Doo in his hair taming the double cowlick to a 30-year-old stud with only a dollop of pomade keeping the cowlicks at bay. Sarah, you look beautiful tonight, as do your bridesmaids, Rachel and Jen. It couldn't have been easy for you meeting the Metcalfs for the first time, but you nailed it. You laughed at my dad's awful jokes, and more importantly, you laughed at my awful jokes. You endured our debates on hot topics and survived our gin and tonic fueled dinners lasting until 3 a.m, with only minimal complaining, a few sideways glances at Ben, and the odd long blink. Although you're still learning not to wear black in a house with white dogs, you never fussed about the dogs jumping on you and drooling on you. But you don't have to sneak through the basement door and hide your shoes at night anymore. You've earned yourself a spot on the mantle next to Peyton Manning. Welcome to the family. I'm truly honored Ben asked me to be his best man, standing alongside him on the second most important day of his life, second only to the day his baby brother was born. I was ecstatic to have this honor until I learned I'd need to make a speech. I didn't know what a best man speech was supposed to be, so I started writing memories growing up with Ben. I wrote about all the times he had saved my life, starting when I was a toddler sinking to the bottom of our grandparents' pool and he dove in after me. I wrote pages about what a great guy he is. And then I googled best man speech. I found out if I replaced Ben is with Ben was, I had just spent weeks writing Ben his eulogy. Well, I mean, he is getting married, so maybe the eulogy still applies. I wanted to take this time to thank Ben for always being there for Jacqueline and I. Ben is the type of guy who always let his little brother tag along. And a 4-year age difference wasn't easy while we were kids, but he still let me join in. Learning how to skateboard together, mountain biking, cliff jumping at the lake with his friends, and playing road hockey, even if that meant dressing me up in goalie gear and practicing their slap shots. My friends at school would have stories of their brothers bullying them and picking on them, while I would come to school with stories of my brother teaching me how to compact firecrackers into pipe bombs and blowing up pumpkins. He bought me my first legal beer in France, and he bought me my first illegal beer. For every time he double bounced me off the trampoline, sending me running off crying, he had spent hours teaching me how to face my fears and do a backflip. One time I was pestering him so much about having a turn with the Nintendo, he pulled the game cartridge out of the system, flung it across the room, and split open my forehead. With that very same game, I knew I would never be stuck on a boss for long because my big brother would be there to beat the bosses for me. Ben naturally stepped into the role of responsibility, allowing Jacqueline and I to live carefree lives, laughing in the face of danger because we knew Ben would always be there to rescue us. One time we were up at the family cabin in Roberts Creek. We had our grandparents' fishing boat anchored offshore. It had started to rain and a storm was coming in, so we had to get out and set out the rain covers on the boat. So Ben, Jacqueline, and I hopped in the rowboat and Ben rowed us out. And as Ben leapt from one boat to the other, he said, "Don't let go of the rope." Jacqueline and I looked at each other and said, "What rope?" As the waves carried us away, Ben shouted commands for us to row, but we couldn't sort out the paddles and we drifted further and further away, hysterically laughing. I looked up just in time to see Clark Kent transform into Superman as Ben ripped his shirt off and dove into the ocean. He swam over to us, climbed in the boat, and rowed us to safety. All the while, Jacqueline was sitting there taking pictures of him to document the heroics. Ben has always had the biggest heart. My mom would send him to school with a new jacket, and he'd come home without it because he saw a kid at school that didn't have one. He'd plead with my parents to give money if he saw someone homeless on the street or someone who didn't have as much as we did. He's one of the few people who would literally give the clothes off his back to someone in need. And Ben found someone equally loving and caring in Sarah. Sarah, you've always been by his side through hell and back. Oh, sorry, that says Penticton and back. You two make an amazing team, working full-time while buying property, completing bachelor's and master's degrees. Kim and Murray, you raised a beautiful, caring, and smart daughter. I knew Sarah would become family when Ben said, "Even the bad days are good days when I'm with Sarah." We welcome you into our family with open arms, even if it's just for air hugs for now. If everyone could please raise a glass and share a toast to the beautiful bride and groom.